Candidates of Bob Katter's Australia Party have sparked outrage by comparing gay Australians to pedophiles and declaring that they would not let a gay person teach their children. And a warning for sensitive viewers, this next segment contains Bob Katter.
Meet Tess Corbett. Tess was running as a candidate for the Australia Party in the seat of Wannon. According to a recent interview with the Hamilton Spectator, Tess said, and I'm quoting, "You should be able to discriminate. I don't want gays, lesbians or pedophiles to be working in my kindergarten. And pedophiles will be next in line to be recognised in the same way as gays and lesbians and get rights." That's quite a platform, although not everyone agreed. This afternoon, Tess was forced to resign because Tess gave us the old, tired, slippery slope argument, which goes something like this. If you allow interracial marriages, next you'll allow gays to marry, then pedophiles to marry children, and eventually we're all marrying dolphins and lamps.
I love lamp.
The same sliding scale could be applied to voting. If you don't vote for Tony or Julia, you'll end up voting for some crazy independent, and then you'll elect a pedophile, and eventually we're all voting for the Katter Party.
I love lamp.
If you're thinking Tess Corbett's views are an extreme isolated case and not representative of Katter's Australia Party, meet Bernard Gaynor. That's right, Gaynor. I'm sure he hates his name as much as I love it. Bernard is the former National General Secretary and, until he was suspended this afternoon, was the Senate candidate of the Australia Party, and he wholly supports Corbett's views.
Some people might be perfectly comfortable with a homosexual person who advocates that lifestyle teaching a child. I'm not, and there are many other Australians who aren't. We're a Christian country, and I'm quite happy to stand by my beliefs.
Remarkably, in 2013, these views still exist. And apparently some people believe selling homophobia like snake oil won't just turn people off, but it might even get them elected. So what does Bob Katter think of the people he's chosen to represent his Australia Party? Bob Katter joined us this afternoon from Melbourne, and at the time of recording, he was standing by Bernard Gaynor. We started by asking Bob whether he agreed with the homophobic comments made by members of his party.
The party has made a very, very clear statement today that people will not, and the party will not tolerate people using our good name to promote their own personal preoccupations and predilections.
But
it's pretty simple.
You do have form on this. You had to apologise for a homophobic ad that your party screened during the Queensland election, and now your candidates are speaking their minds in this way. It does raise the question, is Bob Katter's Australia Party homophobic?
Well, if you want to add them up, there are 7 candidates that have made very strong statements the other way. But we're not interested in either of those things. Neither party will use our party for this purpose. It is irrelevant to who we are and what we are about. We have 17 policy statements, and they are very clear-cut. The first one is Woolworths and Coles. The second one is the value of the currency in Australia. The third one is about our struggling mothers, who I do not simply have any idea how they're making ends meet at the present moment.
Bob, Tess has withdrawn. What's happening with Gaynor?
Oh, I don't know. I don't mean to be disrespectful to that person or anyone else, but I don't know and I don't care.
Sorry, Bob, just to clarify, are you saying you don't care about one of your candidates?
What I said was, I am not interested in these sort of issues. You people are preoccupied with it, I'm not.
You say that you don't care one way or the other, but that's exactly the way that you should care. You're a political leader in this country. You should show leadership. Saying that you don't care one way or the other.
No, a leader should concentrate on the important issues. And you want to go talking about this? Well, you talk about it. I'm not talking about it. If I acquiesce to what you just said, then I am as bad as all the other politicians in Australia and as bad as all the other people on the media that have preoccupations with something that no one else in Australia is concerned about one way or the other or interested in.
Bob, it's hard to understand how you can say that you simply don't care about such a thing.
You know, don't twist my words around.
You said that you don't care one way or the other.
I said that these issues are not relevant to what I am about in politics. There's 2 people who made a statement that way. There are 7 on record making a statement the other way. I noticed you didn't pick up on their statements.
Well, their statements aren't offensive and they aren't hateful, Bob, and I'm asking you as the leader of the party, and you said, to quote you back, that you didn't care one way or the other. And I've got to say to you, you say that we in the media care too much about it.
Your priorities are different than my priorities, my friend. So you keep your priorities, but don't impose your priorities upon me.
That's fine, Bob, but I've got to tell you, if your priorities don't begin
regularly on the farms in Australia,
and suicide rates amongst homosexual Australians are much higher than in the rest of the population, Bob. We've talked about this before, mate.
I am sorry, I am not aware of a single person of that persuasion committing suicide amongst the million people in North Queensland. But you keep talking about it. Truly, I mean, it is so painful to me to think of all the Australians who are on Struggle Street and they listen to you going off about something that just is so irrelevant to their lives.
Bob, it's not irrelevant. It's relevant to a lot of people. And I've got to tell you, if your list of priorities, and the ones you listed are all very important and we speak about them consistently on this program, but if your list of priorities don't begin to include things like the way we treat everyone equally in this country, then your party will remain what it is, a fringe group that is viewed as a fringe group.
We got one person in 20 in Queensland either voted for us or said they would have if they could have. I would hardly call that party a fringe group. And, you know, you people use the word called homophobic. It seems, whatever that means, it seems to elicit some sort of form of hatred of people. I would hope that I've never been guilty of that, but I'm afraid your comments in this program seem to be very, very hateful indeed.
Bob, it's Natasha here. Now, you and I both know politics. I'm not in the media. And it is possible to be in a fringe group and care passionately about these issues, by the way. Bob, I want to know, do you find it offensive to compare paedophilia and paedophiles with gay and lesbian Australians? I think that's something that's concerning a lot of us. Some of us who've agreed with you and disagreed with you in the past, but that's something that a lot of Australians are concerned about today, including those of us who aren't necessarily in the media.
I stood in front of 600 people and 2 women came out to the mic and burst out crying because they're about to be thrown out in the street. The town, which is in the centre of my dairying area in North Queensland that I represent, had the highest suicide rate in Australia.
But Bob,
you know, and that is my
offensive?
focus. And every minute you take off that focus is a minute that my enemies are winning.
No, Bob, I'm not going to take away the focus from that.
Well,
you know that. No, these are human rights issues for a range of Australians.
A nationwide program, and the only questions that you have asked me or that you're interested in are these questions.
Bob, can we get back to your candidates for a sec? Tess Corbett has resigned. Are you going to sack Bernard Gaynor?
No, you have. Look, I don't know how many times I've got to say this, you know, and really, I'm really not intending to talk about it any longer.
So you will sack him? He'll be sacked?
The statement made by the party today is that we will not have people utilising our party to promote their own preoccupations and predilections. One of those people has withdrawn their application for endorsement. She is a lovely lady. That is a statement. That is what has been said.
But your statement, nowhere in your statement do you say whether it's offensive to equate homosexuality with pedophilia. It would only take one sentence. It would only take one sentence of this interview, Bob, and then we can talk about the other great work that you're doing. Well, you're doing some fantastic work, and we're about to ask you about it. But all you have to do is say whether or not you think it's offensive to equate homosexuality with pedophilia. Just answer that.
The statement I have made, I will make continuously and repeatedly. Now, you know,
then I will ask my question continuously and repeatedly, Bob. I want to talk about the great work that you're doing in Victoria, but I also want to hear from a political leader in this country that he does not equate homosexuality with pedophilia and that he finds the idea offensive.
You are taking me out of the area of my concern, right? And look, you're entitled to your concerns.
But Bob, this is your concern because 2 of your candidates are making offensive statements and you need to be accountable for that.
You are concerned about it. The party is very accountable for it. We have made a very, very clear-cut and unequivocal statement, and every one of you know the implications of that statement. If you can't see the nature of that statement... Are you
concerned that if you don't say that that idea is offensive, it will cost you votes in Queensland?
I am not interested in being dragged into that area.
All right, Bob, you're touring Victoria at the moment. Do you want to tell us what brings you down south?
We have legislation before the Parliament to provide an arbitration commission to set the price of milk. Up until the year 2000, a little bit before that in Victoria, we had a regulated price for milk. When it was taken away, the price dropped from 59 cents on the Monday to 42 cents on the Friday. Now, if the farmers got 20 cents a litre less, the price of milk went up 41 cents. That was 60 cents that somebody got, somebody in the middle. Well, you whistle and I'll point to who picked up $1.2 million a year of extra profit, literally over the dead bodies of the farmers.
Bob, we do wish you luck with that fight, but we're almost out of time. Just quickly, how are you spending your Australia Day?
This is a bit egotistical and a bit naughty, but I'll probably read my book a bit. We're an incredible race of people. That's what I'll be thinking about on Australia Day.
Well, Bob, it's never boring. Thanks very much for the chat. Very interesting day in politics. As we said, that was filmed earlier today. At the time, only Tess Corbett had stood down, but since then, Bernard Gaynor has been suspended from the Australia Party. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a tick.
Look at the expression, how are you going? The further north you go, the less syllables people use to say it. Like in